What if I told you you are already aesthetic underneath? It's just covered by the fat, the guilt, the shame, the lifetime of bad habits. In this video, we will strip away the 4 layers that cover your body until we reveal what is truly yours. Lean, aesthetic, and chiseled body. Let's get into it. If you think about how a Greek statue was made, they would carve away at the stone until you arrived at it. What if building an aesthetic body is something similar? It's not so much about adding more exercises and adding more protein, but about stripping away the layers until you arrive at the conclusion. And the first of those is the level of the brain. As always, it's your thoughts. It's the level of knowledge. What is the knowledge that is just false, that's literally keeping you fat? Let's get into it. First one is that you need to train really hard to build muscle. You don't actually need to train that hard. You've seen too many movies, too many military scenes where the guys are just working out too hard and lifting until they're sweating. That's like bodybuilding. You don't need to do bodybuilding to build muscle. I'm not the biggest, jacked, most aesthetic guy in the world, but I have a physique that I'm pretty proud of, and that just came from lifting 3 times in the gym with relatively heavy weights, progressively overloading and getting stronger and stronger. And most people can actually do that without breaking much of a sweat. I rarely sweat in the gym unless it's summer, unless you're living in a humid country. Like, you can do very chill but intense workouts where you don't break a sweat, but you're really pushing hard. That's actually the right way to train to build muscle. So don't believe this thing of like you got to train until you're sweating to get that. Next, get rid of this idea that you need to run and sweat again to lose fat. This is again not the right way to lose fat. In fact, when you do these sweaty sports, what ends up happening is you get really hungry and then you eat more than you burnt. Instead of that, get rid of this idea that you need to do cardio to lose fat. You need to go on runs to lose fat. You need to just go through this like panting heartbeat motion in order to lose fat. Something like that oftentimes shoots people in the foot, because then they do those things and then they just end up eating ice cream when they get home. Okay, the other day I was walking by the river side in Seoul, and these guys, they just finished their run and they're coming walking, and I heard one of them say, "Great run, let me just order that special pizza." Fair enough, have a good time, but that kind of defeats the purpose as well. Next, you can't eat your favorite foods, sugary foods, to get lean. As long as you understand certain diet principles like the rule of a calorie deficit and a moderate calorie deficit, might I add, so don't go in a huge calorie deficit because then you'll bounce back, but a small calorie deficit. If you follow these rules, you can actually eat cheesecakes, pistachio cakes, ice creams, ramen, burgers. That's how I'm able to do it, because I understand the most basic rule of fat loss, which is a calorie deficit, and within that basic rule, you can maneuver things and fit your favorite foods into your diet. And the long-term psychological consequence of this is that you start to feel like, hang on a minute, this is actually doable. I can actually eat carbs and ice cream and still get a 6-pack. What the hell? This is crazy. You start to feel good about the whole situation, which lowers your stress, which will make the getting lean process easier. If you hold on to these wrong beliefs, so you can't eat stuff like sugary stuff, you can't eat late at night, you have to sweat, you have to work out like a crazy bodybuilder, these beliefs are what's keeping you stuck. If you're ready to let go of that and actually just train like a smart person, lift just enough to build a ton of muscle and look good, then get Aesthetic Body Blueprint, which is my system for building that aesthetic body. It's the simplest and easiest routine you'll ever try, so go get that now. Let's get on to the next point. The next layer is the layer of actions, what you actually do with your body. And these are the actions, by the way, that I had when I had an average chubby physique. So let me go through some of them. The first of those is breakfast. Breakfast is one of the most overrated things in the whole world. If you actually look at the word itself, it says break fast. It doesn't say 8 a.m. meal, 9 a.m. meal, 7 a.m. meal, cereal meal. It's just how you break a fast. I'm of the opinion that the later you break the fast, in other words, just skip traditionally what we call breakfast and just break your fasting window at lunch, it's going to make it so much easier for you to stay in a calorie deficit, which is going to allow you to lose weight and get lean. Breakfast winds up shooting a lot of people in the foot, because as soon as they start eating, their stomach wakes up and then they feel like they have to eat again and again and again. And by the time you've had breakfast, little lunch snack before lunch, then the coffee with biscuits for tea, and then dinner, and then dessert. I mean, even a normal guy has already devoured well over 2,000 calories, and boom, you're gaining weight even with all the exercise that you're doing. This is why you're stuck. Just let go. Let go of breakfast if you can. Next is sugary drinks and lattes. This is just one of those things that, like, lean aesthetic guys, you just rarely ever see a guy with a chiseled body go for like a mocha, a chocolate mocha cream latte. These whipped cream in Starbucks drinks. Even, to be honest, like just milky stuff like normal lattes. I mean, I'll have it every now and then, but it's very rare that I'll go for those things like high calorie drinks, and definitely not those like super sugary whatever. even when I drink, fizzy drinks, it's usually Diet Coke or a low-calorie fizzy drink, because it's just one of those things where you can easily limit your calories and still get a lot of the taste. So if you're somebody that's having these sugary drinks, high-calorie drinks, it's time to let that go. And if you think coffee is disgusting without sugar and milk, you just haven't had enough, okay? Nobody loves coffee the first time they drink it, just like nobody loves beer the first time they drink it. But I bet you love beer, right? Coffee is an acquired taste. Just lean into black coffee. Drink coffee not necessarily even for the taste if you don't like it. Drink it for the effects that caffeine has, which is that it can blunt hunger for a while. And go for the Americanos, the espressos, things like that, as opposed to sugary drinks. Which brings me on to the next point, beer and alcohol, and let me add to it, processed foods. Now, there is a time when you're gonna have a good time with your friends. You might order some pizza and have burgers. I mean, this happens. I still do it. Every now and then, we're gonna have some drinks. We're gonna have some processed food. That's part of the game. Having said that, if you want to build an aesthetic body, a lot of those things are just compounding not only fat on your body, but more and more cravings of that exact kind of food. Have you realized that when you have a pizza 1 week, the next week, you suddenly just start thinking about it? Why do you think that is? Because hyper-processed food not only gives you cravings, it makes you addicted to them because it releases huge dopamine and you're like, I want that dopamine hit again. Let me order that pizza. So it's much better to just release that from your life. Just limit processed food and alcohol, generally speaking. Like, I rarely drink alcohol. I rarely have hyper processed food. When it happens, it's like a birthday party. Make it like that and let those actions go. And the final thing is, you got to let go of this thing where just because you've been doing it, you're going to keep doing it. This is one of the biggest issues I see in most people. It's like, I've always eaten like this, so I'm going to eat like this. I've always eaten rice because I'm Asian and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not saying rice is bad. I still have a ton of rice. But if you have goals, then you got to be able to make those switches and not just say, oh, it's just how it is, because that's just how it's been. Now, if you want to build a personalized strategy and actually have me guide you every step of the way to building that aesthetic body, then hit the link below and book a call with me or my team member, and we're going to go through exactly what your goal is, exactly where you're stuck, and how I can help you break through that. There's limited spots. I only take on a few coaching clients per month, so make sure you hit the link below, and if there are slots open, book a call and I'll see you there. The next layer that keeps you stuck is the people around you. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. You don't want to listen to anybody that doesn't have your body's best interests at heart. And let me tell you right now, that's almost everybody, because they don't actually care that much about your body. And even if they do, like, let's say your family obviously want you to be healthy, they don't actually have your body's best interests at heart in terms of how you want to look, how you want to change your body. They're just kind of, oh, I think this is healthy, so just have this. They're trying to recreate their beliefs by projecting what they think onto you. That makes them comfortable about the things that they believe and the actions that they're taking. This is how humans work. We just want to say things and have people around that do the same thing so that what I'm doing feels good. Don't listen to anybody that doesn't have your best interests at heart, and you have to learn to let go of people that are creating the bad habits in your life. So if it's a friend who's always inviting you out for drinks, if it's a friend who's making fun, this is the word, if they're starting to make fun of you trying to get healthy, if they're making sneering comments about, ooh, you're going to the gym, oh, he wants to be an influencer, or like, shit like, you like working out, or trying to get a six-pack, woohoo. These people, what they do is, they're doing that because by looking down on it, they're trying to comfort themselves for being stuck where they are. Okay, nobody's gonna make fun of you for building a great body with a body that's absolutely jacked. Like somebody that's actually gone through the trouble of building a body, knows how hard it is, knows how rewarding it is, and knows how much positive impact that has on his or her whole life. They would never make fun of you. Okay, so if there are people that are holding you back, or not even like making fun of you, but just always inviting you to things and creating scenarios that lead you to eat too much or eat bad food or go drinks or go party, then it's time to let those guys and girls go. It's quite hard to do, and a lot of people won't do this, and this is the layer where you get stuck. You've peeled away the knowledge. You watched enough Wanhee videos, you're like, okay, I get it now, Wanhee. I know I don't need to do that. I know I just need to follow the aesthetic body blueprint. I'm gonna do the actions now. Okay, now I've let go of some of those bad actions. I don't have breakfast anymore. I do fasting. Things are going really well, and then bam, what always messes them up is the people around you. It's the people around you, and you don't know how to say no, and you don't know how to cut them out if they're actually bad enough to throw you completely off your goals. So let go of those people. The next layer is the layer of emotions. Everyone can shove their emotions down a pipe until they get that summer photo and then they get to 10% body fat. But you'll never see people who absolutely crush their emotions to get to their dream body keep it for that long. They always bounce back, or they're constantly stressed, and that's just not what you want. You don't want to build a body out of stress. Controlling your emotions and really getting to the bottom of this and letting go of certain emotions that keep you stuck where you are, this is absolutely critical to getting lean and staying lean. So what are the emotions? The first thing you got to let go of is the emotion of guilt. Guilt is one of the worst emotions you can feel when you're going on a diet or a fat loss journey. Let's say you're doing well, and then one day, because of some situation, you had a bit more, or maybe you just lack discipline and you just ate a bunch of ice cream. Now, what most people do is they fall into guilt, because in their mind, this is what they think: if I'm feeling guilty about this, this is my way of punishing myself so that I correct my behavior, and then in the future I won't do it again. Now, you think that sounds pretty logical, right? Wrong. That's exactly not what you're gonna do. What you're gonna do, in fact, is guilt, brownie. You feel guilty, you feel stressed, you feel self-hate, you self-punish, and then you eat more to get over it. You say, fuck it, it's all fucked anyway, I'm just gonna eat. Have you done that? Because I've done that many times. You don't want guilt. Guilt is the worst emotion to feel when you're trying to get lean. Instead, what you want to do is forget. It was Friedrich Nietzsche who said something along the lines of, forgetfulness is the guardian of sanity. The way we blink, the way we sleep, it's always because we need to reset. What's more painful than having your eyes open the whole time? You can never rest, you can never reset. This is such a healthy skill to develop. The ability to let go of guilt and say, you know what, I forgive myself for doing that. I'm gonna start again. My body must have needed it. I'm gonna go again. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's go. I still did really well throughout the week. That one day doesn't matter. This ability to forget and restart, this is so critical for you keeping a level-headed mindset throughout the fat loss journey, which is how you get lean and stay lean. And trust me when I say guilt is one of the worst emotions that you want to stay away from when you're trying to get lean. And it's only beaten by an emotion that is even worse than guilt. Is shame. Shame is the deepest layer of the crappiest emotion you can feel when you're on a diet. Yet it's probably what everybody feels. You have shame around your body, your belly fat. Sometimes you shame yourself. Sometimes the self-talk is like, oh, you're such a loser. You're such a fat shit. Look at this fat. Oh my God. And you're looking at your body with hate, like you look down on it with disdain. That is literally the worst thing that you can do. Now imagine if you have people around you that are shaming your body. Again, the worst thing. What does guilt and shame do is it makes you supremely stressed and feel so bad that you want to escape that badness to a momentary dopamine sugar spike. They will always make you just go and eat more and binge eat and self-sabotage. They will never put you on the right track. Like in the short term it might. If somebody shames you like, oh my God, look at that fatty having a chocolate. Imagine like you're a bit chubby, right? And you're about to have a brownie at the end of the meal, and there's a whole table of people that are just like, oh my God, look at that fat. They're shaming you. You might not eat the brownie in the moment. So in your logical brain, you're like, oh, you know, like I gotta shame myself because then I won't eat. It's the same thing with guilt. You're trying to put this upon you, punish yourself to not eat. And what happens is that shame you hold deep in yourself for a long time, and it's resentment. It rots inside of you like a shitty rotten apple, and you're just waiting, and you're like, fuck it, I'm a worthless piece of shit. I'm worthless, I'm just an idiot. And then you just go craving and start binge eating food because you're worthless, so you deserve to be destroyed. You don't deserve anything good, and you kind of have a twisted joy in destroying yourself. Who's been there? Who's actually decided to self-destruct and do it with a twisted sense of joy? I have. Okay, you're not alone. Recognize this. I learned this the hard way. Guilt and shame are not good emotions. In the diet especially, but in anywhere else in life. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The next thing you need to let go of is just using food as a way to escape the present moment. I have this still when I'm getting stressed in my work, or I feel like something's not going my way, or I just want to postpone something. I'm like, well, let me just eat. And this is exactly what I used to do when I used to smoke. It was like before I had to do this big thing, or whenever I felt anxious, I'd be like, well, let's have a cigarette, because then I'll just have a cigarette, and then afterwards I'll think about it. And a lot of people use food this way. And when you're in this state, you're usually reaching for processed food and sugary food. So you gotta let go of this action. And I know it's not as easy as it sounds, but you must practice letting go of this constant desire to substitute your anxiety for food. Now, how do you do this? The first step is always to bring awareness to the moments when you're actually doing it. So become aware when you're doing it and be like, okay, that's what I'm doing right now. And maybe you go do it, but it's such a big difference to be aware of the thing you're doing, because the more times you shed awareness to that activity, the more times you distance yourself from that moment of possession, because that's what it's like. It's like you're being possessed by this hunger demon, right? The more you can distance yourself from that, at a certain point, believe it or not, you'll be able to be like, yeah, that's that substitution hunger demon action. Let me not do that right now. Let me do something else. That moment comes, and that's a big win. So you got to let go of that desire to run away from problems with food. The final layer you must get rid of is your identity. How the hell do you let go of your identity? You don't need to complicate this. Just describe to me right now, without your name, where you come from, what your age is, what you do. What are you? Like, describe me who you are. Introduce yourself to me. Maybe you might say, oh, I'm a entertaining person, I'm a humorous person that people love spending time around. Or you might say, I'm a bit of an introverted nerd who loves gaming. And you might have all these things that you describe yourself as, and the amalgamation of all those things form your identity. And realize how that identity is maybe somewhat different to some of the other identities that you've had in the past. When you were a child, maybe you had a different kind of identity, you were known as something different, and it's okay. Maybe it didn't change, maybe it changed. The point is, when you want to build the body that you can be proud of, what's actually keeping you stuck is the previous identity. In my case, I had the identity of a chill, bohemian, like philosophy studying, long hair, just, like drinking, smoking. It was part of the game. You're in academia, you just go into these bars and having drinks. That's part of who I was. And then I went through an identity shift, for instance, when I had to just give that up. I quit it, and then I went to the military, so shaved literally, like there was a physical identity shift. Became a soldier for a while. I came out, and now I'm a coach, and I help people get lean and build muscle and become healthy in their mind and in their body. And this identity shift makes me do the right things so much easier. I don't have to use any effort to go train because it's part of my job, essentially my identity. This is the hack. Now, if you flip this on its head, what's actually keeping you stuck is because you right now, you have this identity of like, oh, I'm the busy guy who, does this, or I'm the chubby guy who's always trying to get lean. Like, all of these things keep you stuck where you are. Whenever you make a big jump in your life, you'll realize that you have let go of certain things, let go of certain identities in order to reach that new level. So how do you get rid of your identity? That's a difficult one. We're not going to go into how to do identity shift. It's usually a very, very long journey full of pain, and it needs a lot of time. It needs also a lot of work, like accepting parts of yourself that you didn't know existed, accepting parts of yourself that you don't want to say existed. But these are the things that must happen for the next evolution of you. That wraps up the 4 layers you must let go of to build an aesthetic body. I hope this video helped you. See you in the next video.